Hi, hey, hello. Welcome back to the heyHAE podcast. My name is Hey, and I am the she behind AstroloShe and AstroloSheCraft, respectfully. And on today's episode, I am reacting to some TikTok content because, still kind of on the job hunt, trying to figure out if I want to do corporate again or if I want to do, small team, big team, solo, duo, partnership, insert other corporate jargon slash entrepreneurship jargon here. Trying to figure out what I want to do. And so sometimes my TikTok algorithm, goodness gracious, welcome to the unedited part of the podcast because this is never edited. You just get the straight cut every single time. Or the by cut, if you get what I'm saying. Anyway, it's fine, move on. So my algorithm likes to show me stuff sometimes about corporate or finding a job, or a lot of the TikToks I've been landing on recently have to do with HR. I don't think I've ever shared on the podcast, but one of the first jobs that I applied for was kind of like an admin assistant to HR for Chewy. I was very quickly told no thank you, and that's so fair. I don't really have a lot of hardcore HR credentials. So that does make sense. And I didn't necessarily tailor my resume. So we will try again because I think it's something I genuinely want to do. I really care about people. But anyway, so I keep getting served these TikToks about different things that happen from like an HR perspective. And this is a TikTok that I'm going to share the audio of. So don't worry if you're, in the car, in the shower, you have 5 million tabs open. You don't have to watch anything. I'm not going to pop it up on screen. But I will link it down in the description down below if you want to go watch the TikTok for yourself and listen to the full audio. Because I'm going to be reacting to a reaction of a message submitted to the HR Uncensored account on TikTok. And quite literally, this happened maybe like 10 minutes ago, and I heard the whole thing through, and I wanted to share that audio and then give my thoughts about it because I'm really passionate about it. So let me scrub the audio back here, and we'll listen together.
My new hire quit after 3 weeks and said we made him feel like a burden. I'm trying to figure out if that's actually fair. This is a message that I received. It says, we are a small team of about 15. I'm not even really a manager, but I ended up onboarding new hires on the team because no one else wanted to. We hired this guy fresh out of school. He seemed smart and eager, and I was excited to have him on. On day one, I was slammed with meetings, so I told him to grab a seat and shadow someone. On the second day, he just sat there, not doing anything. No one was really engaging with him. Part of this was my fault because I hadn't had a chance to set up his systems access yet, so he wasn't able to do much more. Okay. Fast forward to week 2, I gave him a simple task, explained it quickly, and ran to another meeting. When I got back, I saw that he had messed that up, which got me pretty frustrated. I tried my best to get over it with him.
I can't.
At the start of the second week, he messaged me saying that the role wasn't a fit and quit. I found out that he told someone we made him feel like a burden every time he asked questions. I can kind of see it, honestly. We didn't have a real onboarding plan, but I feel it was simple enough for him to figure it out. It was kind of annoying, though, because when he didn't, it slowed us down. So I'm trying to figure out if it's fair to say we made him feel like a burden, or was it that he couldn't do a simple job?
So that is a clip that was submitted to HR Uncensored. This wasn't necessarily their experience, like being the manager or the onboarding of this new hire necessarily. Like I said, I'm reacting to a reaction because it kind of sparked me up a little bit, if I'm honest. Onboarding is something that I never take lightly. Whether it's corporate or it's for an organization like a sorority, for example. I have been in charge of both corporate onboarding or team onboarding in that way, from a few different aspects, and then also sorority onboarding, especially with brand new members who have never been with us before, and they may only see, kind of like similar to a job. Like you see something on the website about like, oh, this is our company and we pride ourselves on being XYZ elemental P, and here's what we stand for, and here's a description of us. And then, it changes, the paperwork is signed in corporate terms, of course. I don't think we have anybody sign anything when they join De Gamma Omicron Chi. I don't think so. But once you kind of cross that threshold, then it's like a whole world opens up. So, first of all, yeah. First of all, you didn't get the person system access, which is strike one. Strike two, you just kind of told them to sit and shadow somebody. That's not helpful. I mean, it may be helpful to some, but like, if this was genuinely their first week on the floor, or maybe, I mean, we don't know, I guess, for context sake, we don't know if they maybe had like training time and like this was their first time like on the floor. So I'm going to take this as this is like they were hired, they had probably like a little talkie walkthrough, and then this is like on the floor, you're going to learn hands-on, let's go. So why didn't you get them system access prior to them hitting the floor? Like if this is a Monday, which I'm recording this on a Monday. Also, happy birthday, Kyle. If you're listening to this, I'm recording this on your birthday. But if you are going to have a new hire starting on Monday and the paperwork has gone through, and I've never hired anyone before necessarily. I can only give you like approximated timelines from like my outsider POV and then what I do with our new members that are wanting to join our sorority. So take it with a grain of salt if you are actually in HR or you're part of the hiring squad because I don't really know. But, it just baffles me how they don't have access and you want them to like hit the floor, get their feet wet, get started. Why don't they have at least basic access to the basic tools they need? One of the biggest things that I did in my corporate entity, myself and Lindsay and Sarah and Priyanka and Cam and Vanessa and Clarinda and Alexi, and there's a lot of people that were on that team and backed like the onboarding like education team because there wasn't really one in place. When I got into my last role as a digital presence manager, my manager was a wonderful individual named Lindsay Ford. Shout out to you, Lindsay Ford, if you're listening. I love you very much. You very much live in my head rent free. Whether you want that square footage or not, you do. But it was, okay, you have a buddy, you have me as your manager, we're going to figure it out, which is great. I felt like my onboarding was pretty put together. It was pretty much a team effort. Everybody kind of signed up and did, little bits and pieces, and everybody came together for a training. But as I grew in the position, and as the role continued, and Ford moved on, and, other people came into play, and new hires were still, being brought on, that system kind of deteriorated because I felt like a lot of us had way too much to do, and people weren't necessarily signing up, that it was inconsistent education, it was people not wanting to participate, and it felt like management wasn't really pushing for anything to really happen about it. So a lot of the actual training ended up being by people in the role. It wasn't necessarily a training team or a manager. It was people who were in the role, for the role. So you had people who had been there doing things like this for 8 to 10 years who really probably should be leading the training, depending on their comfort level. And then you have people like me who I very much learned on the job when I was hired as a digital presence manager, when it came to organic social and organic search. And that was the me trying to like sign up for these trainings and teach people, which like I still love to do. But anyway, whew, that was a spiral. And I'm happy to go down it some more. But it's really important to look at the onboarding part. If you have someone starting on a Monday and their paperwork has been done, let's say a week out, you should be in the inbox, in the Teams chat, in the Slack messages, phone calls to make sure that that access is set up. Maybe not to every single item, because I know in my last role, even for, for the sake of conversation, even the sorority, there's a lot to give and gain access to. There was a lot in my corporate entity that, was, yes, dependent on IT, but also was dependent on our manager and was also dependent on, like sharing access to like a SharePoint and making sure that they have everything down to proper group chats and making sure they have system access to where we primarily work. And they had instructions on how to connect to blah, 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 connect to Meta. And I just don't understand how a new hire hits the floor and they don't have any access. So all they can do is sit around and shadow. There were several new hires once I was in this role. And I mean, even prior to the digital presence manager role that I'm mentioning, where the new hire hits the floor and all they can really do is sit and watch. I am a talker. And when someone's just like, okay, shadow, I'm fine shadowing someone if they're cool with it. I don't really learn or absorb information that way. I just kind of get a feel, and I get to like more so make a friend than learn the process that way. And then on the other side of it, I really get like nervous / kind of unhelpful when someone shadows me, because especially when I'm dialed in and the caffeine's flowing, like I got a cherry Coke or a Baja Blast next to me, I got a fan on, I got EDM in my headset. Having to have someone shadow me makes me not have to have music and takes me out of the flow. So really what they're seeing me do is like a process like 5 times slower than I would normally go and overthinking every single step because I'm not in a flow state. So shadowing is a hit or miss. It is helpful in some situations so that you can watch something piece by piece and ask questions, and watch it like in real time and real speed. But training when I first came into the corporate entity was a lot of shadow work. That sounds like a witchcraft thing. Take it or leave it. But it was a lot of shadow work, and it was less hands-on, more just watch me do it. And I'm definitely a learner that can't do that very well. And I'm okay to admit that. It feels weird to say that out loud, and this is going to be posted to a public platform, but it's true. If you hire me, you'll know that. So having the new hire no access and be like, just shadow. What are they supposed to do with that information? And then, like the next day, what'd they say? Not having anything to do. Let me scrub back here. Maybe.
I think that
nope, back up.
Not doing anything, no with meetings. So I told manager, but I ended up onboarding new hires on the team because no one else wanted to.
Right.
We hired this guy fresh out of school. He seemed smart and eager, and I was excited to have him on.
He's still smart.
On day one, I was slammed with meetings, so I told him to grab a seat and shadow someone.
Okay, let me pause you right there. I know that this is probably from a manager POV, and that's something that gives me the ick about certain management and certain leaders that I've been an employee under or an employee in the ether of. You need to make time for that new hire. Your company and you and your potential peers and sometimes employees spent a lot of time interviewing, researching, making decisions, conversing about this individual that you're bringing onto the team. Why? And I understand meetings happen. That's not anything at all. But like, have your meeting, and okay, we didn't get this part of the story. Like, we just got, the summary of the story. But, like, have your meeting. And if there is a gap between you having to go pee, get a drink, get a snack, go into another meeting, make it a point to stop by the desk if you're in person. Or make a point to send a Teams or a Slack message. Make a point to make sure that you're present. It's kind of like a parent not showing up. Like, you better listen to your mother. When is my mother around? I'm always at my grandma's house. Like, it's a respect thing, and you respect their time, and then they can start respecting your time as a manager, and you respect their time as a new hire and a member of their team. Anyway, I'm going to play more, and then I'll pause again.
On the second day, he just sat there, not doing anything. No one was really engaging with him. Part of this was my fault because I hadn't had a chance to set up his systems access yet.
Oh, so that was day 2. That was day 2. So the first day, you just told him to shadow somebody. The second day, sitting there doing nothing, nobody really engaging with him. Did you introduce him to the team? Was he introduced? Did he have a buddy? It kind of sounds like they didn't have a buddy. One of the biggest things that I do with the sorority and I did with my DPM position was we had a buddy system. So the moment that you crossed that threshold, right? Let's say the offer went through, your background checked out, and we got word that, hey, a new hire is going to start April 13th. That day, when one of us is told on the onboarding squad at that point, that we helped like coordinate and get new hire education set up. But like that day when we are told, we make sure that there's a buddy assigned to that person so that the buddy knows the schedule. The buddy knows all of the sessions that the new hire is going to sign up for. They have access to their onboarding sheet because we had a whole system. And that way, if, this was a remote position that I'm talking about, the DPM role was a remote position. But if we were in the office, per se, or even when you log in, you open your laptop that day, you can then have somebody to either like get on a voice or video chat with, or at least someone to be like chatting back and forth. That person can, help you with system access. That person can, if you're in office, perhaps that person can get a snack with you, write a note, make you feel welcome, especially when the manager's not able to make contact immediately. Why didn't this new hire have a buddy? I guess is all I was getting at. All right, let me play again.
So he wasn't able to do much more. Fast forward to week 2, I gave him a simple task, explained it quickly, and ran to another meeting. When I got back, I saw that he had messed that up, which got me pretty frustrated.
Okay, so let me get this straight. This is week 2 on the floor. We're gonna hope. Okay, let me have some hopium here. I am gonna hope that they got system access by that Thursday of week 1. I know that's hopium. I know it is. And it's a delicious flavor. It's very minty. It's like mint chocolate, like a thin mint. That's the flavor of my hopium in this moment. I'm going to hope that they got access on Thursday. So we're talking week 2 Monday. Okay. This is the hypothetical timeline. We're talking week 2, I'm going to say Monday. And you gave him, you as the manager gave him a simple task, explained it quickly, and then ran to a meeting. And when you got back, they did it wrong, and you were pretty frustrated. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? It does not matter the level of competency or the education or the focus or anything. If you do not give explicit, clear instructions or are able to support maybe questions, that's an issue. I'm giving, the new hire a lot of benefit of the doubt. I'm really trying to, hold a lot of space for this new hire. We don't know what the task was, of course. We don't know what the instructions were given. It's all pretty vague. But you as the manager, again, I've never been a manager. I think the closest thing I've gotten to be kind of like manager or leadership levels within my sorority, which I've been participating with for the last 6 years, um, apart from running my own organizations and groups. But as I'm going to use air quotes, you can't see me use air quotes, of course, but like as that kind of manager or leader, if I want something done by the new hire, I need to give explicit, clear instructions. If it's part of the job and they had, all this training, even if they mess it up, this is week 2, day 1. Like, what are you doing? Like, it sounds like you wanted there to be a magic wand and make it work. And when it didn't, I mean, I can relate. I get frustrated at that, especially like if I'm doing crafts or like something doesn't like cut properly or something. I get so frustrated. Like David kind of has to talk me down. So like I get it, but like that's in like a personal scenario, not a corporate one. Anyway, all right, we're gonna move forward. I think she's gonna say like, and then either the second week or the next week. She means week 3. When she talks about him quitting. I just wanted to give that detail because I didn't say it earlier and it was text like on the video. So
I tried my best to get over it with him. At the start of the second week, he messaged me saying that the role wasn't a fit and quit. I found out that he told someone we made him feel like a burden every time he asked questions. I can kind of see it, honestly. We didn't have a real onboarding plan, but I feel it was simple enough for him to figure it out. It was kind of annoying, though, because when he didn't, it slowed us down. So I'm trying to figure out if it's fair to say we made him feel like a burden, or was it that he couldn't do a simple job?
You made him feel like he was a burden. Now, that's giving a lot, again, I'm holding space for this new hire that, they knew everything what was going on and the onboarding plan just was not there. They admit that the onboarding plan was not there. Let me run you through my thoughts on how this should go. Your onboarding plan, first of all, you should have a buddy. That buddy is kind of like, if you are familiar with Greek life, whether it's sorority or fraternity, that buddy is like a big sister, a big brother, meaning they're going to take you under their wing for the duration of either maybe your trial period or your training. That includes getting set up. That includes, kind of fleshing out, maybe you said that you were certified in like Google Analytics on your resume. Turns out you've never touched Google Analytics. That buddy is going to be the one to help discover that and help you work through it. That buddy is going to be the one that the new hire can go to with questions so that they don't feel super pressured to ask questions in a big chat or in a big meeting. And, if they're comfortable with that, more the merrier. But a lot of the new hires I've worked with, both sorority and corporate, they are not traditionally comfortable because they don't want to seem stupid in front of their peers, their new peers and their new coworkers. They don't want to appear stupid, even if the question is not stupid whatsoever. But outside of having the buddy, you need to have a schedule. If there's not a training plan, which again, from this TikTok, all of 20 seconds that we've reviewed and listened to, very detailed, but you need to have a plan. You need to have a roadmap of what to do and when and who's going to do it. Because that takes the pressure off of your team of just shadow somebody. You need to have somebody specifically they're going to shadow and learn a specific thing from. The DPM role, we had education through, I can't remember the name of it. Oh, I'm so sad because we spent a lot of time in there. But we had kind of like a classroom, if you will, with on-demand learning. Both if we loaded a video in there, you could watch a video. You take tests in there. But with that assignment schedule, we also had a shadowing and a live training schedule. And we did it for 2 weeks. And I think technically on week 3, we had a couple of honorary, more advanced things. Especially depending on what team they ended up with. We wanted to make sure it was tailored to whoever whatever team they ended up on, because each team functioned a little differently. But buddy, schedule, and then like as a manager, like make sure you're involved with that new hire. The quickest way to lose respect from your employee is to not give them the time of day. Even if I understand that management and leadership can get so busy that they barely have time between meetings. They have like literally 30 seconds. They're, running behind every single meeting. They can't stay long. At least just like chat them, send a GIF, touch base, give them a call. If you're in person, stop by their desk. Maybe even write a note. Doesn't have to be like on a note card. Doesn't have to be like fancy hand lettering, though that's what I would do. Write them a note. Like drop off a bag of Cheetos. I don't know. You need to make sure that they feel seen by you because they're about to work under you. And that's how the trust and the relationship starts, is like right there in the onboarding phase. So onboarding is really important. And like I said, I got served this on TikTok, and it just sparked a little bit of flame inside of me. That is something that I'm really passionate about. And for sorority's sake, like again, we use kind of like the big sister system, where someone will be your dedicated. First, we have someone being your dedicated buddy when you onboard with us, but then also there's what we call a den mother. Our sorority is our mascot is the fox, like an orange fox, and so there's a den mother, which is for all of our incoming new members. That's your point person. That is your coach in that space. You can bother any of us, but the den mother is specifically there to answer any kind of questions related to our onboarding. And then you also have that partner that is an experienced member that can also help you when maybe you don't want to ask your den mother, or someone higher up like an executive officer or what have you. Because really when we're onboarding, it's really important. And this is coming from someone who has had bad onboarding experiences and has also orchestrated how they work, or at least has given a lot of thought and detail into how they work. You have to, instead of okay, let's do a visualization real quick, because this is where I'm at in my head and I'm trying to explain it, and that's where the gaps are happening. So let's say that you're brand new to the company or organization, whatever it may be. And that means your cubicle, like let's imagine a cubicle with walls and a desk and a computer. Maybe it's got some cabinets up top, but you've got like a naked chair. It's all like light gray or beige. And it's probably a little dusty, unless someone took the care to dust it, right? So when you are onboarding, it's a lot more intimidating to me to come into this imaginary cubicle and it's cold, no personality. It feels very sterile. That makes me skittish. You should craft an onboarding experience that maybe, we put some cards on the desk. Maybe we get a cool, desk mat for them. Either it's company logo, or it's something that that hey, they like Pokemon. Maybe you get them like a Pikachu mat, even if Pikachu's not their favorite. It's Mudkip, but get the Pikachu mat because it's there. Or, it's warming up the space so that even when they start doubting their abilities, and they are more than capable and more than qualified to be in the role, that when they start doubting themselves, they're comfortable enough to go to somebody, whether it's their buddy, whether it's the manager, whether it's, in my sorority's case, a den mother. They need to be comfortable to not doubt themselves as much and to not feel stupid. And so when you don't have an onboarding piece in play, you might as well not have hired, because you just wasted all of those resources and possibly a good chunk of money signing them on, and they're not going to last. Again, that's someone who's come from a corporate world where churn wasn't like all the time, but it was more frequent enough that it was noticeable. And that's why I'm so damn passionate about it. But anyway, I figured I would just get on here and record something because I know it's been a minute. Let me know if you have any thoughts about this. I know I don't necessarily garner a lot of comments on these videos, but this is something that I haven't felt this spark since this time last year, probably, when I was still employed and going through a really bad onboarding in my new role as an account manager. Shout out to my training buddy. Shout out to the person who was told to train me. Shout out to my buddy that also came from DPM life. Anna would be the DPM, and then Heather was our like designated kind of trainer. She was the lead, and then my manager was not in the picture for training. It was kind of dumped on, figure it out in the learning apparatus, take your test, do your quizzes, and good luck, do it. And then when that stuff didn't stick, I was told I wasn't doing a good job. And I did genuinely feel like a burden to Heather, even though it wasn't her fault, and she's an angel on this earth. And so, I don't know. This struck a chord. So I figured I would share because it feels good. I needed to tell somebody. So if you've made it this far in the podcast, I appreciate you. Tune back in whenever I post next. There's a lot of PopCon prep. If you are in the Indianapolis area, May 8th through May 10th, PopCon Indy is happening downtown at the convention center. I will be there with all of my Warhammer wares and some secret menu items for Gundam trading card game and other pop culture items. I'm sharing my booth with Brightside Creative Studio with Mr. Kyle Bright, and he will have some apparel for sale. So if you're in the area, stop on by. And if you made it this far, give a like to the video. You don't have to comment. I know that's a lot of pressure. Go ahead and click the little thumbs up. It'd mean a lot to me. All right. I will see you guys in the next episode of whatever I'm going to spiral on next. Probably another TikTok because that's where my brain lives nowadays. All right. Catch you later. Bye.